Hi there. My name is Greg Behringer, and I'm going to spend a few minutes just talking about meditation, why we meditate and how we meditate. And this brief talk has come about from my last video that I put out there on breathing and meditation. I got some nice feedback from a bunch of students out there and other friends who just really enjoyed the video, but had quite a few questions. And so I thought I would address some of those questions and then also just talk a little bit about meditation in general so we kind of understand what we're doing here. One of the best questions came from a friend, student, who said, is it okay if I meditate for less? I think that last video was about 19-20 minutes long, and she said something like, is it okay if I only do 10 minutes? And I took a moment and thought about it. And I said, 10 minutes of meditation is 100 times better than no minutes of meditation. And what I meant by that is that really any time that we can spend quieting our mind is time well spent. Our minds tend to be very busy and active and thinking about the past and the future and solving problems. And any time that we can make for ourselves to allow our minds to calm down and be still is time well spent for us. So the first thing about meditation that you should know is that it really does not make much difference how much time you do it for, meaning it will be better, obviously, if you do more meditating, but anytime you can spend 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to give yourself a kind of mental cleanse will be time well spent. So if you tune into any video or any teacher, don't feel like you have to do the whole thing. You can just do a few minutes of it and you'll get quite a bit out of it. When I start teaching new students to meditation, I really encourage them to try to do 5 to 10 minutes a day. So can you find 5 to 10 minutes of your day to meditate? And that is really enough to get you started. You don't have to do more than that. The rest will come naturally. If you can commit to 5 to 10 minutes a day, you could break that up into 2 5-minute periods a day if you want, or even less, then it'll start to take up residence. It's kind of like, I like making the analogy of brushing your teeth. So most of us would not think about going to bed without brushing our teeth, and most of us start our day with brushing our teeth. And so we're now used to that, and we do it without thinking about it very much. And if we didn't do it, we would feel not so great, right? We'd feel, oh, that's not so good. Meditation can become like that too. It can become a sort of mental cleanse, a way of clearing out the detritus in our minds. And so if we just start practicing once or twice a day, it'll start to become a habit. And then once it becomes a habit, then we can kind of grow on it from there. We can learn more about it. So I just really want to encourage everyone to just not be intimidated by how long you have to meditate, or whether you finish the lesson or you finish the video that I or anyone else put out there. The fact that you're sitting with the intention of meditating is a great thing. And so I just want to encourage everybody to do whatever you can to start and nurture your meditation practice. So the other thing that came up as questions were sort of questions about technique. And there was, in my last video, there were several breathing techniques as well as a visualization technique. So there were several meditation techniques that were sort of layered onto each other. And that can be a very powerful experience to sort of layer the meditations one upon another. But you can also do those individual ones and just stay with like a breathing technique or a visualization technique or a mantra technique. And what I've sort of decided out of that exploration is that I'm going to put out some more lessons and videos just kind of focusing on one technique at a time and sort of giving a little bit more explanation about that. In the meantime, it's important to kind of remember what meditation is about. So meditation is about calming our minds, right? Getting that monkey mind to sort of start to calm down. And what can happen when we start to calm our mind is we start to, in the words of the Yoga Sutras, abide in our own true nature, right? So our own true nature is the kind of oneness with everything. There is what's called prakriti, or everything that we see and everything that we experience, all the things that are in experience. So all the trees and our body and our thoughts and the sky and all of the things that happen are things which would be called prakriti, the things within that happen. And then there's the purusha, which is the container or the consciousness in which all of those things arise. And so when we're meditating, what we're shifting our awareness from is from all the things within reality to the witness, to the consciousness, to the container of reality. So, and this is our true self. Our true self is this witness, this observer of all that is arising, right? And so we're sort of continuing to step back. So when I say that, so that's where we're heading. The mind, the discursive mind, the mind that distinguishes. There comes some more things in reality. The birds, little hawks are just coming by overhead here. It's quite beautiful. Now they're circling. We'll be here for a moment. So the mind tries to distinguish between things. It distinguishes, do I like this? Do I don't like this? Is this pleasant? Is this unpleasant? And it's really good at that. And that's how we've kind of created our lives in a way by, I like this, I want more of it. I don't like this, I want less of it. But just by my saying that, you can probably feel a kind of sense of a bit of anxiousness, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to be constantly judging good and bad, right and wrong. Do I want this? Don't I want this? How do I get more of that? How do I get less of that? Right. So it's an exhausting process, not just physically, but mentally as well. So this calming of the mind is letting go of that discursive mind that tries to figure things out. The same thing can hinder our practice. If we're trying too hard to get it or figure it out or master it in some way, if you feel a sense of frustration, for instance, frustration is always the ego, right? The ego is trying to kind of like, it's getting frustrated with something. It's, I'm not getting it. I'm not good at this, right? That's all egoic functioning, right? And what we're trying to do is get beyond that egoic functioning. We're just trying to step back into the witness. If I'm having an unpleasant sensation, I'm having an unpleasant sensation. It doesn't matter to consciousness what shows up within consciousness, right? So we're trying to get to that place of being aware, watching, observing, noticing, allowing, being. I am a human being, right? I'm not doing, I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm just being. I am being the container in which everything is arising, right? So that's the direction we're going. And that discursive mind can be a block along the way. So trying too hard to figure it out, like how do I hold my hands, or how long should I breathe in for? How long should I breathe out for? Those are all good questions, and we will answer those questions along the way in our meditative journey. However, they're not all that important to actually meditating, right? So meditating is trying, and no, not even trying, it's doing nothing, right? You're doing nothing. Your breath is going to happen without you doing anything, right? That's the beauty of the breath, and why it's such a good focus of meditation, is that it's going to happen regardless of whether we try to do it or not. We can play with the breath, and we will in many of our meditation practices, but it's also just going to happen, and we can just watch it happen, and we can let the breath become the vehicle to draw us inward, right? So when you're practicing, a couple of things, right? Don't worry about how much time it is, okay? You can do it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, If you get to 10 minutes, after that, it'll start to go on your own. You can start to do longer, right? And the other thing is not to worry too much about whether you're doing it right or not, right? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? It's all just about, can I get used to doing nothing, right? And for most of us, that's really difficult, right? Our mind wants to fixate onto something and wants to sort of, oh, I got to this to do now. Oh, and then I have to talk to that person tomorrow, right? That's all the egoic functioning, which is good. There's nothing wrong with egoic functioning. However, it keeps us from experiencing our true nature, right? The egoic functioning keeps us from experiencing our true nature, our oneness with everything and with eternity. So we want to try to cultivate that, just like kind of brushing our teeth is keeping our oral hygiene in good shape, and which actually affects our overall health, right? So we brush our teeth, our whole body is healthier because we brush our teeth. Meditation is kind of like that for the mind and for the consciousness. We step back, we cleanse, we let go of the thoughts, we let go of the worries, we let go of the anxieties. It takes a while to do this, but as we do so, we start to cultivate a place of deep okayness from which we can then respond to conventional reality. So this is my kind of overall explanation of meditation. I hope it helps you in your journey. And as I said, I will start to layer onto this different techniques that we can explore. And everybody sort of have a different proclivity. It's like sometimes mantra works really well for people. Following the breath works really well for people. Just sort of stepping back into spaciousness can work for people. Body scans. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of meditation techniques. And the idea is to find one or some that work for you and then just sort of stick with it for a while. I'm really glad to be here with you. And if there are any questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. And I hope you will like this video and follow along, subscribe to the Soul Journeys channel, and we'll be doing some more meditations and explorations together. So let's just take a moment, absorb all that in. Have a kind of a pretty major download of information. And again, even in this discussion, don't worry if you didn't get it all. You can always come back to it, watch it again. And the nuances and details will start to become clearer as you continue on your exploration, as we continue on our journey together. Softening the shoulders, lengthening the spine, allowing the breath to become long and deep. Bringing the palms together. Take a deep inhale. Exhale with a sigh. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May there be peace, peace, peace. Namaste.